We're so lucky to have such music talent in our community. Who else gets to kick off their Sunday service with Dvorak? I mean, come on, that's like caviar for breakfast. Welcome everyone in here, out there, and everywhere. We're so fortunate to get to gather together on this beautiful, beautiful fall day. Please stand if you're able and join together in speaking our community affirmation. Together, we are a heart-centered community seeking spiritual awakening and transformation by deepening our connections with God, self, and others. Thank you. And now let's unite in song with A Fearless Sizzle.
A fearless sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. It runs down from my head to my toes into my protoplasm. Sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. If there's troubles or worries I face, I say now let me at 'em. And I spring forth with a mighty faith. I'm living life exuberantly, and I do the things that ought to be done by me. I step into the world to do the things that I want to do, not thinking about yesterday, 'cause today is something perfect and new. When I put my heart in gear, it starts a wondrous chain reaction. Every fiber of my being knows the true meaning of satisfaction. A fearless sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. It runs down from my head to my toes into my protoplasm. And I spring forth with a mighty faith, 'cause I'm charged internally, and I do the things that ought to be done by me. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. If there's troubles or worries I face, I say now let me at 'em. And I spring forth with a mighty faith. I'm living life exuberantly, and I do the things that ought to be done by me. And I do the things that ought to be done by me. And I do the things that ought to be done by me.
For those of you online, we know that you are with us in spirit. For those of you here, please take a moment to greet your neighbor and make your way back to your seat when you hear the music playing.
I'm celebrating all that I am, all that I have. I am celebrating all I am becoming today. You are celebrating all that you are, all that you have. You are celebrating all you are becoming today. We are celebrating all that we are, all that we have. are celebrating all we are becoming today. All we are becoming today. All we are becoming today.
Ooh, thank you. You may be seated. And just like the song that we just sang, we as a community are celebrating all that we are becoming. Our community is in a unique space of becoming and rediscovery, and you can feel it. It reminds me of the compost in my yard. It's so rich, and it's actually the only place in our yard where anything grows. Well, we're certainly growing something here, and just like my magic compost pile, we don't know exactly what's going to grow out of it. But we're preparing, and we're excited. Please join together in speaking our transition affirmation that charges that field of possibility. Together, Unity of Bloomington is generating an abundant future in expansive alignment with Spirit. We lean deeply into truth principles, live our faith, and trust the process. Our greatest desire is to be abundant and attract those who value spiritual growth, including our next right minister. Thank you. I'm honored to introduce and welcome our guest speaker today, the Reverend Ron Fritts, who is joining us through the magic of the interwebs. You'll get to see him in just a moment. And the thing about reverends is that we assume they've got it all figured out. But Reverend Fritts talks, teaches, and even wrote a book about the joy and the astonishment that comes from having a perpetually curious mind on this spiritual journey that we are all on together. And we'll hear all about that in just a moment. It's no wonder then that this Unity minister who revels in the journey has frequently assisted centers like ours in transition. Reverend Ronald L. Fritts was ordained as a Unity minister in 2011 through the Field Licensing Program with the Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett as his mentor. Some of you might remember her. We've read a couple of her books, Divine Audacity and How to Pray Without Talking to God, here in our community. Since his ordination, he served as full-time minister and transitional minister for a number of congregations, many of them in the Midwest. Within Unity Worldwide Ministries, he's a certified ministry skills consultant and has served on the alternative ordination and the credentialing teams. He's also served as president for our Great Lakes region in Unity. His volunteer work has included being an assistant baseball coach for the John Wood Community College, a court-appointed special advocate, or CASA, for foster children, and has even fostered 7 children with his wife, Cindy. He and Cindy, by the way, have been married for 37 years, and currently live in Cape Coral, Florida. They have 2 children, a wonderful daughter-in-law and son-in-law, and 8 grandchildren. Reverend Fritts is also a singer. He has sung in the Grammy Award-winning Kansas City Chorale Choir and directed the Monroe City Singers in Missouri. We're so honored to have Reverend Fritts with us today. Before his message, he requested this next song, with which many of you are familiar, but we are going to hear our own Ron Masters sing it as a solo, I Am the Thinker. And Reverend Fritts will speak after that. So please welcome Ron Masters.
I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I'm more than that meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
Well, thank you, Ron. You have once again given the name of Ron something to be proud of. And thanks also to Phyllis and the other musicians. What a great thing to have a music team like you have. Not all congregations have that, believe me. And I very much appreciate it, and I especially have appreciated working with Phyllis. I must say, Phyllis, I had heard you play the piano, so I knew you did that beautifully, but that first song, the prelude, kind of surprised me. I didn't know you also played guitar. I also want to thank Dan Pekarski. I hope I'm not butchering your name too bad, Dan, but he was the person who got in touch with me several months ago and invited me to be with you this morning, and I'm very appreciative of that. And he and I, as well as Phyllis, have had a number of communications between now and then. I'm also really appreciative of Davta and the technicians who put in so much to make this work. I'm just grateful to be with you and to say hello from Florida this morning. So I am the thinker. I am the one who has the power to change my life with my thoughts. I just hold on to that for a few moments as I share some other things with you, beginning with a quote from the Gospel of Thomas. As you may know, the Gospel of Thomas was one of the document scrolls found in what's called the Nag Hammadi Library, only discovered in the 1940s. Documents that had been hidden away by some of the early followers, and then several years to translate that. But when I read this second verse from the Gospel of Thomas, it struck a chord that has continued to ring with me. Jesus said, "The seeker should not stop until he finds. When he does find, he will be disturbed. After having been disturbed, he will be astonished. Then he will reign over everything." My astonishment has been around for a while now, but my seeking began long before that. And I want to share with you just a brief portion of my spiritual journey, my spiritual evolution, which began actually with seeking. It began with asking questions. So I grew up in a very strict family environment, a rigid, not ecumenical, almost fundamentalist kind of church. I went to college and seminary in that same denomination. I was ordained by that denomination and served 12 years in several churches of that denomination. But the longer I served, the longer I read, the longer I thought and sought the truth, the more I began to have questions. Questions about who or what is this God that I've been told so much about throughout my life, but who doesn't quite line up with what makes sense to me? Who is this Christ that seems like something more than just the person Jesus? What is prayer? How does prayer work? Why do we even do it? What makes it function? And what about the Bible, which is ancient, which is largely myths, talking about what people had experienced, but never meant to be literal, never meant to be historical. And those questions just kept coming and just kept burning in my curiosity until I finally reached the point of even going beyond that and doing what a good friend and colleague of mine, Bill Holton, calls questioning unquestioned answers. It was going back and taking a hard look at those things that I had been taught, those things that I had believed, those things that I had shared myself, looking at them, looking at the answers I'd been given, in many cases answers that I had not ever questioned, not ever doubted, and I began to even question them. And that path led me to unity. It led me to discovering unity, which in the initial time didn't make all that much sense to me, except it was much more at home, resonated much more with where I was at that point in my seeking. And in the process of my spiritual evolution, with unity as a bridge to that, I learned the 5 unity teachings or principles that are often put forth. And the third one of those, as you may know, is I create my experience by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. I choose to think, and I am the thinker that changes my life. Now, right along with that, I came upon Fillmore's statement, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. What do these thoughts held in mind produce? More thoughts like those thoughts. Thus, I am the thinker really starts to take on significance, because I am the one who chooses what I think. I am the one who chooses to dwell on what I think. I am the one who asks the questions and seeks the answers, and then I'm even bold enough to question the answers. This led to writing a book that I took notes for probably 10 years. Just things that I used in talks, things that I read, things that I thought about. I just kept keeping track of that, and finally I decided, largely with the support and pushing of my wife, to write the book and get it published. And I'm very pleased to have had that happen. Because another Fillmore statement that I came across in that process was this: enlightenment is of little or no value unless you continue to mature spiritually and emotionally. enlightenment, what I found in Unity, what I found in Fillmore and Butterworth and many others was wonderful. But Fillmore said that's only worth a lot if you go on beyond that, if you seek more, if you continue to question, if you continue to look at new possibilities. Along the way in this process, I had on 2 different occasions friends in just kind of around the kitchen table discussions who asked me, so what happens when you die? And immediately I was able to answer, I don't know. And I don't think anyone else does. I think it's speculation. I think it will be good because I believe God is good. But I really don't know. And it dawned on me at that point, I had become completely comfortable with that answer. I don't know. I don't have to know. Because it is in the questions, in the asking of the questions, in the seeking. It is in that very place that the mystery becomes a pleasant place to be. The land of I don't know, the mystery of I don't know yet, the mystery of I'm still seeking becomes exactly the place where the joy, where the juice of spirituality resides. So at this point, I refer to myself as more spiritual than religious. And for me, that spiritual existence, that spiritual awareness, is being comfortable with living in the question, being comfortable, continue seeking, knowing I don't have to know the answers, but also knowing that I am secure, I am whole, I am at peace, I am at growing. All the time, I may have doubts or uncertainty. I have found the mystery of God and the mystery of myself in that place. So I want to invite you to go into a few moments of silence and meditation and hold on to these thoughts. So if you will, as you get comfortable, close your eyes or at least change your focus so you're not aware of the surroundings. Allow the thoughts of this morning or the thoughts of what is to be done later today, allow those to pass through and begin to just focus on this moment of silence as our musicians lead us into meditation.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when
I invite you just to remain in this place of silence for a few moments, knowing that all is well, knowing that you are good, knowing that you are divine, and yet always still seeking. In the silence, let us find God and let us find ourselves in silence. Whenever you're ready, feel free to bring your thoughts back to this time and place. Open your eyes. But in that moment, we continue to be grateful. Grateful for living in the moment, the mystery of God, and discovering ourselves and knowing that we are one with it. And for all of this, we are so very grateful. And so it is.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Will the greeters come forward? Let's join together in speaking aloud our abundance affirmation. Together?
I am an abundant being in an abundant universe. I am not dependent on people or situations for my good. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I consistently give it. I expect the best, I give my best, and I now attract the best in every experience.
I am complete, I am whole, expressing the divine as I travel down the road. I am complete, I am whole, I celebrate the journey of life. I am complete, I am whole, expressing the divine as I travel down the road. I am complete, I am whole, I celebrate the journey of life. Standing in the dark or dancing in the light, whether I'm confused or filled with insight, I am always whole, I am complete. Just like a mighty oak that's contained in a seed, I am complete, I am whole, expressing the divine as I travel down the road. I am complete, I am whole, the journey of life. I celebrate the journey of life. I celebrate the journey of life.
Thank you. And now let us bless these offerings with these words. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Thank you. We have a few announcements. Today, after service, we have our 41st anniversary fall picnic potluck. That's a lot of peas. And this coming Saturday, on the 30th, Unity Choir has practice here in the sanctuary from 10 to 11:30 a.m. On October 1st, we have Newcomers Connect right after the service from 11:45 to 12:45. Even if you are kind of new to Unity, then you're welcome to come to that to learn about the history and our community specifically. On October the 8th, we have a Course in Miracles workshop. Everything you always wanted to know about A Course in Miracles, but don't want to have to read the whole course to find out, part 2. That's from noon to 1:30, so there's a little bit of a breather after service, and then we go into that workshop. Those are a lot of fun. A lot of people have come, and to Reverend Fritz's point, if you are questioning on the journey, the Course in Miracles is a tool that we use to help guide us and generate even more questions. So consider attending that workshop. It's open to everyone. Our speakers in October, we've got a lot of people. We've got a deep bench, as they say, in our community. So we have Chuck Thompson on the 1st. We have Reverend Karen Williams on the 8th. We have Kimberly Hughes, who leads some meditations here during the week. She'll be on the 15th. Kathy Haggerty will be on the 22nd. And then mark your calendars for the end of October. We're going to close out October with a bang with an all-music Sunday. Before we go into the prayer for protection and our closing song, please join with me in thanking Reverend Fritts for joining us today. And thank you also to Andy and Seb, who are always on point on our technology and did all of the arrangement for Zoom and troubleshooting and all of that to really bring us into this now moment in technology. Let's join together in saying the prayer for protection. Together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now, if you're able and here, please join together in a circle and we'll sing, "Let There Be Peace on Earth."
Peace that was made.
downstairs for the potluck.
Food and fun in the picnic area.